Okay, so good evening, Jane and Peter, and hello everyone. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Yijie Xu, and today I'm gonna to present my master thesis, my master project, the adaptive network modeling for joint action and memory recall for elderly by detecting interpersonal synchrony. Okay, first of all, I will introduce the content of today. First, I will make a short introduction of the presentation, and later I will share my research background, which consists 4 parts. And later is models that applied in my project. And then I will describe the scenarios which will be applied to the models and the result. And the discussion and conclusion is the last part. So first of all, the introduction. People live longer nowadays because of a relatively higher quality of life and less hunger, less wars than past. In 2024, the life expectancy around the world is 73 years old. It's far higher than 64 years old than 1950. The World Health Organization has estimated by 2030, 1 in 6 people will be 60 or older, and this number rising from 1 billion in 2020 to 1.4 billion in 2030. And they also estimate by 2050, the number will be doubled, which means there are 1 in 5 people will be 60 or older. Therefore, helping old people living in a better quality life is extremely important and urgent. According to the NIA, which is National Institute on Aging in United States, the social interactions plays a pivotal roles in the lives of elderlies in both physiological and psychological health. They also propose that lack of social activity is linked to chronic disease and cognitive decline. This leads to the research directions and topics in my project. Is the memory decline is also called memory loss. Is actually a significant sign of cognitive decline. And it's also the first symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. And another point is the interpersonal synchrony. It's actually an important part of the social interactions. This synchronization plays a crucial role not only in early development and the language learning, but also in fostering the social connection. After a massive paper browsing, I found there is limited research on the interpersonal synchrony focus on the health among the elderly. The major research directions of the major research direction is on the social interactions, the emotional resonance, and the physical and mental health. For instance, there is a Giraffe Plus system. Actually, it's a kind of a smart home for old people who live alone. For instance, to monitor their mental and physical health or detect if there are fall downs. And they also provide some social interactions functions like make FaceTime with their families. Yeah, but it's quite limited. This kind of system is quite limited. So this project is focused on explores the adaptive network modeling to support joint action and memory recall among the elderly through detected interpersonal synchrony. And next, I will introduce this 4 main part according to the research focus. The first part is the interpersonal synchronies. The interpersonal synchrony appears in many life scenarios. For instance, the dancers, they move to the same beats. It's called behavioral synchrony. And Also, the physiological synchrony, so-called emotional resonance. So the definition of this interpersonal synchrony refers to the coordination of behavior and the physiological response between individuals. This synchronization not only enhances the social connection, but also improves the communications. Next, let's look at the impact of the interpersonal synchrony in different age groups. For children and adults, this synchrony brings significant benefits in learning and social context. It helps them engage better in interactions and enhance learning efficiency. However, the research for the synchrony in the elderly people is relatively limited, but it's indeed important. Though the research is limited, but there still some studies shows that with synchronous activities, it can improve the mood and the cognitive function of the old adults. For example, the research has found that the synchronized physical exercise and musical therapies can significantly enhance the overall health of the elderly. In summary, the interpersonal synchrony has significant benefits, not only for children and adults, but also for the elderly. We should pay more attention to these fields of the research to better support the health of the elderly. The joint action is, the definition of joint actions is that two and more or more individuals coordination their action towards a common goals. The example of joint actions can be seen in the team sports, the dance. These activities requires individual to work together and achieving collectively and achieving the goals more collectively than they're doing individually. The research showing that the joint action well studied in children and adults. These activities promote teamwork, the problem-solving skills, and the social cohesion. But in elderly population, the joint activities is also important in enhancing both cognitive and physical abilities. Participating in group exercise and collaborative games is not only help them maintain the physical health, but also help with the mental health. These activities provide opportunity for social interactions, which is essential for emotional well-being and reduce the feeling of the loneliness. As for the research of memory, we can first begin the type of the memories. There are three types of memories. The short-term memories, for instance, remember the phone numbers. The long-term memories, like speaking a language, and the working memories, driving skills or swimming skills. Each of these memory types serves a unique function in our daily lives. As we age, this type of memory can be declined differently. The memory loss can significantly impact an individual's independence and the quality of life. It often leads to feelings of frustration, anxiety, and even depression. This emotion response can further exacerbate the cognitive decline and create a challenging cycle for the individuals or their families. Fortunately, the social interaction have a positive impact on cognitive process and memory retention. Engaging in group activities and maintaining social connections can help slow the rate of memory decline. The social engagement stimulates the brain, encouraging the use of the cognitive skills and improve the overall mental health. The models. Here is in this project, the adaptive network model was applied. So let's start the basic. The adaptive network model are powerful tool used to stimulate complex systems that evolve over time. These models are dynamic and incorporate feedback mechanisms and adaptive behaviors, and makes them ideal for studying systems where conditions change continuously. An important concept within adaptive resist model is the self-modeling. This principle involves creating models that can modify themselves based on new information. By doing so, the model becomes more accurate and dynamic and capable of adapting to new data and involving the condition. Taking the step further in this model, the second order adaptation is applied, and it's particularly sophisticated. So it accounts for changes in the rule of the parameters of the system itself. Now I will tell you the scenarios. So in a Dutch nursing home, there are two old people, Hans and Tom, both of them are over 80 and with dementia. They sit side by side in a wheelchair during a group of singing activities. And the music leader plays the guitar, and Tom began to make the sounds. The leader harmonizes, and Tom adds the melodies and waves his hands. And Hans recognizes the melody is the breath of the angel, and his memory returns, and he sings and stands. And Tom's memory also comes back, and they complete the psalms together with exciting mood. So this scenario illustrates the power of the interpersonal synchrony, where spontaneous the element of rhythm and melody not only enhance their emotion connection, but also trigger their memory. So our research model is based on this phenomenon, aiming to support joint action among the elderly through adaptive network modeling. By detecting the interpersonal synchrony, we could develop a more effective intervention to help the elderly improve memory function and social interaction. Specifically, our model stimulates the interaction of two elderly in three modalities: the emotion, the seeing, and the movement. Through this simulation, we can analyze the status of the interpersonal synchrony and the effect of the memory recall. Let's take a close look to this model. And here is the baseline. So this model is made by two sections, two blocks. Each represent an agent. The left one is agent A, and which represent Hans, and the right one is Tom, which is agent B. The base level of the network model describes the connection between the internal mental states of two agents. This internal state can be categorized from left to right as the sense state, representation state, preparation state, and the execution state. The execution state is including the three modalities: the emotion, the seeing, and the movement. In addition, the model includes three interpersonal synchrony detector states. Each detector has two incoming connections, like the sense state and the execution state. Both agent has the same structure, but with different incoming connections from the word states. And also these word states, they are transmitted by the execution state of the other agents. And the memory states include both emotional and cognitive aspects, and they're also divided into old and new memories. The old memory can be awakened through new stimuli or information. This process involves the mechanism of memory reconsolidation. When a memory is retrieved, the new information can be integrated to the old memory. and the memory is consolidated again and restored to in the brain. And outside the blocks are the word state. Includes the word stimulus state and the word state from another execution state. Next is the multi-level adaptation model. We can see the base level, the first order level, and second order level. So we already introduced the base level. The first order adaptation level is the middle blue plane. It uses the self-model states to adjust the weight of the base connections, like the W state, and also it also uses the excitability threshold, the T state, and it also contains the context states, the CON states. The context state is mainly used to maintain the stability of the T states of the excitability threshold, and the W states represent the weight of the adaptive connections. Here it represents the weight of the memory, and the T states represent the adaptive excitability threshold for the representation, the execution, and the preparation state, and also the memory recall state. And the upwards arrow indicates the input from the base level to the T state and W state. This adaptive connection weight and the threshold of the state can affect the base level process by the downwards arrow, like the output. The purple plane is the second order adaptation level, which include the 6H states. The HW states here are for the weight adaptation, and the HT states for the excitability adaptation, and the T recall state is for the memory recall adaptation. All of these H states represent the speed factors for controlling the learning rate and the excitability threshold, controlling the learning rate of the threshold and the weights. They all have the same incoming connection for each agent. Is the sensory representation states here. And this selection is based on the metaplasticity principle. Is the adaptation accelerates with the increase in stimulus exposure. Through this model, we can more accurately stimulate the complex behaviors and the cognitive process, providing strong support for improving the memory core and the social interactions among the elderly. There are two combination functions applied in this model. The first one is a logistic function. It's called advanced logistic sum function. It has two parameters, the stepness and the excitability threshold. These parameters are used to adjust the response characteristics of the model. And the second function is a complementary difference function, which has no parameters. And this function is used to calculate the difference between two values. After applying these functions and putting all the parameters into MATLAB, we got a simulation result. The total simulation time is 40 and the step size is 0.5. And the curve of memory recall here shows the significant changes in response to specific stimuli. And with the increase of the synchronization, the race rate of the memory recall state is accelerate. And also the dashed line represent B and the solid line represent A. And the dashed line has a faster response than A. And this also satisfied by the scenarios. This is another result curve. It's for the interpersonal synchrony detection by two agents. The solid one represent A and the dashed line represent B. We can observe that the synchrony of seeing and movement has similar trend. They all increase rapidly first and then gradually raise and increase sharply, and then finally stabilize. And for the emotional synchrony, it shows a sharper increase compared to these two. This indicates that the change in emotion synchrony are more pronounced and rapid. And the synchrony in seeing is proceed than the movement. This could means that the emotional and the seeing synchrony may be easier to achieve during the interaction, and then they lie the foundation for the movement synchrony. This result provides valuable insights into how interpersonal synchrony changes over time. By analyzing this trend, we can better understand the role of different type of synchrony in social interaction and develop appropriate intervention to promote positive interaction and emotional connection. The last part is a discussion and the conclusion. So we have two key findings. The first thing is that the music can assist in memory recall for elderly, and the second one is interpersonal synchrony. Is that the study can prove that the feasibility of the interpersonal synchrony between these two agents, but we also have some limitations. For instance, that the result is based on the certain assumptions, so it might be too idealized, and the selection of the parameters could also need the selection of the parameters may need also to be validated. And the last limitation is that the project is not that considerable, because we only can look at the interpersonal synchrony and memory recall. So for the future, to build more comprehensive models, we could find more factors to do the analyze, and also we need to validate the effectiveness and the feasibilities of the model as well. Yeah, thank you.